Hey guys, what is up? Kid here of Burn One with the Shadowverse Evolve channel, bringing you another day one set two deck profile. This time on Discard Dragon. This is the list I've been testing right now, proxy wise. I'm not sure if this is what the list is going to be like in the future, but it's been pretty solid overall, and I've been enjoying it. So let's just get right into the deck itself. All right, so this is the deck itself. I went more with kind of like a hybrid version of the deck. I wasn't very much sold on going all in on the discard package that came in set two, but there was enough of the discard package that I felt like kind of like this hybrid version of the deck was pretty solid. And through my testing, it's been pretty good so far, and I've enjoyed it. But let's just get right into it here. So we play 3 of Bellringer Angel. I'm predicting a pretty aggressive meta due to Aggro Abyss being so powerful. So we play a 3 of Bellringer. Also, our weakest point in the game is usually the first like 3 to 4 turns or so for Dragon is kind of rough. So opening up Bellringer is really good. 1 of the Evo to slow down the game more. By turn 1 Bellringer, turn 2 Evo, remove like a Goblin and then engage this for Ward. Very powerful. We play a 3 of Dragon Tamer. This is one of the ways to enable our discard package of things going off. So first things first is on play, it's draw a card, discard a card. This lets us dig deeper into our deck quicker. If we miss turn 2 Oracle, we can play Dragon Tamer and hopefully get like an extra draw to hopefully get into it sooner. But then we play 1 of the Evo because I felt like the Evo wasn't good enough with what we're playing right now to really play more than 1 copy of it, I feel like. Because it's on Evo, you have to discard a card, or you may discard a card and then select Wormkin Faller in your cemetery and put it into your hand. The only things we can really grab from it is Genesis Dragon, Shenlong, which is really good. So like there are turns where you can like just play Shenlong on 5, and then if it gets removed, you can always Evo this later to get it back, so you can still get your double Evo off if need be. And then Dragon Warrior, I believe, is also another one that is a Wormkin follower. All the other followers in this are not Wormkin followers, so unfortunately you can't grab them with this effect. I think if you were able to grab any follower with this effect, I would probably want to play more than 1 copy of it, but right now this feels like it's more than enough. Next, play 3 Shapeshifting Mage. If you've played set 1, you know this card's good. In this case, we're playing it more as a 2-drop 5/5, so we can ramp and then develop a wide board against some opponents who have trouble with wide boards. So there's that, but we only play 1 of the Evo because usually if we need to remove something, it's usually earlier in the game and we only need to do it once before it doesn't matter anymore. That's at least what I've felt so far. So this as being a 1 of early removal if needed is really good, but outside of that, I felt like cutting 1 of the pieces just so we can have more room in our Evo deck. Next, 3 of Dragon Warrior. If you've played set 1, you know this is a really good 2-for-1. It's a 3/3, has pay 1 to Evo it. It becomes a 4/4, and on Evo you select the enemy follower, deal 3 damage to it. And then since you Evo, it has rush, so you can run into something else. This is a really good 2-for-1 since I'm anticipating a lot more aggressive stuff going on with Sword and Abyss. This feels like a really solid card overall, and it's probably going to be in your deck in most cases here. I don't see how this doesn't stay around for a while. Next, we played Dark Dragoon Forte as a 3 of. This is like one of the key pieces to the identity of Dragon, I feel like. 5/1 has Storm, but you can pay 2 to Evo it into the Evo form, which is a 7/3 that has Storm and Aura, making it really hard for some of our matchups to deal with it. I think one of the worst matchups is the Haven matchup, personally. But as long as we have multiple Fortes to Evo, it becomes a lot easier to deal with that matchup. So that's why I've chosen to play 3 of the Forte Evo, because most games, in order to win against Haven, it feels like I have to double Evo minimum to win those games and get that damage in there. Otherwise, they'll have enough removal for our big guys. The other way we deal with that matchup is we go wide on board. That's why we're playing the 3 of Shapeshifting Mage. So like there are turns where we can play Dragon Guard and double Shapeshifting Mage, stuff like that. It makes a very big, scary wide board that they're forced to deal with. If they don't have the answer, they kind of lose on the spot. If you don't like 3 of the Evo, you can always cut it to something else, but I've been enjoying it as a 3 of, and it's been super solid overall. Haven't really felt I needed anything else for the Evo. I think the only other thing you could possibly do that's like worthwhile cutting this down to 2 is maybe playing a 3rd Shenlong Evo, because the fact that we do get a cycle with Dragon Tamer and get like a Shenlong back that we've lost, we can now bring it back to Evo it again, which is kind of cool. So that's something you can consider as well. We play 3 of Dragon Guard. I'm not 100% sold on this, but I'm still, like I said, anticipating more of an aggressive meta, and being able to Dragon Oracle on 2 into Dragon Guard on 3 is still a very powerful play. The only downside for this card is that in the matchup against Abyss with Soul Dealer, this becomes somewhat of a liability sometimes playing it out, because when they do Evo Soul Dealer and get rid of this card, they do heal 6 off of it, which is rough. But still, this card overall has been really solid. It, at 7 play points or higher, it becomes a 6/7, which is really big and really annoying to deal with. 3 of Shenlong, I mean, what can I say? On play, draw 2, ditch 1 is really good. It enables our discard package of things going on as well, which is really good. You can pay 2 to Evo it into the 5/6 with Ward. That also heals 5 when on Evo, which is insane. Like, what? Next, we play 1 of Genesis Dragon. If you've seen my other discussions on Dragon, I've always felt like multiple Genesis Dragon in a deck is too bricky, but you always want 1 just so you can have that random 1 of like out of like, if I get 10 storm damage this turn, I win the game. So it's still pretty good. We do kind of cycle through the deck a lot due to our discard and draw package and things like that, so it's really good. Also, if we do discard it early or someone rips it from our hand, our Dragon Tamer can pull it back for us if we need it at any point, which is really good. This card is a liability against Abyss Craft, just to be noted, because if we send Genesis Dragon out there and we don't end the game on that swing with Genesis Dragon, if this stays on board and they Soul Dealer it, you feel horrible because they just healed 10 off of this Genesis Dragon you played, almost basically negating your last turn. 3 of Blazing Breath. This is one of the most craziest quick spell, 1-cost quick spells in the game. Before you're at Overflow, it's just Angelic Snipe. After that, it's Angelic Snipe times 2, basically. It deals 4 damage, which is insane. It is probably one of the most broken cards in Dragoncraft, honestly. Next, Dragon Oracle 3 of. We want some acceleration here so we can get to our in-game faster, which is good. And obviously, you can pay 2 to draw a card, which is like okay to cycle sometimes. Otherwise, this is an ideal card once it gets later in the game to just ditch to our discard package. Since we're playing a discard package, we're playing 3 Trail of Light. There are a lot of games where your hand will like whittle down to like 3 cards and then suddenly go back to 7. Trail of Light is the reason that happens a lot of the time, because a lot of our discard packages love to discard Trail of Light because we just get more advantage from it. Play 2 of Execution. We need a way to deal with Leonidas' banner, which is annoying, so this is how we deal with it. This also helps us on curve remove our opponent's Soul Dealer if need be, so that's another out to Soul Dealer that we have. Next, Conflagration. This is, once again, it's another out to Soul Dealer, so if we go first and then they curve into Soul Dealer on our turn 5, we can just conflag the board and remove everything to reset the game, basically, or the board state, that is. Dragon Song Flute. This is one of the other key cards for our discard package. I originally had it at 3, but I felt like 2 was more than enough, honestly, because this card does give you some value, but it doesn't give you the best value. So we just kind of only want to see 1 copy of it during the game. I guess it does have a secondary effect that is decently and comes up sometimes, which is cool, but it doesn't come up enough that I really enjoyed this card at 3, but maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm thinking incorrectly, and maybe you should try it out as 3. So the card effect is, if this card is discarded, put a Hellframe Dragon token into your EX area. That's a 4/3 dragon with Rush that costs 2 play points. And this card has Fanfare on play. You can play 3 play points. So a lot of the times you're going to be playing this card, you're going to play this card on 4 because you want the Fanfare effect to go off. What happens is you summon a Hellflame Dragon token onto the board and draw a card immediately. And then that gives you 4 rush damage instantly, and you get to like replace this card in hand, which is always really good. The last effect is an activated effect. You engage this card and discard a card, and you can put a Hellflame Dragon token into your EX area. And this effect can only be activated if you're in overflow state, which means you have to be at 7 play points or more to be able to do this, or max 7 play points or more. So this card enables us to discard at any point. This card also lets us discard cards that are useless immediately to be able to trade it into a 2 play point follower that we can immediately deal with something on the board with it. So this basically becomes discard a card, pay to rest this, discard a card, summon a 4/2 token onto the board, and has Rush, which is really good. Otherwise, we can just like kind of cycle if need be to activate this next cards that we like really a lot in this deck, actually. Dragomancer's Rights. This is another amulet that's really powerful. It's a 3-drop. You want to get this on the board as soon as possible. This is why we play it as a 3 of. And even in some cases, you'll just play 2 of these out because it's just that good. So at the start of your end phase, if you discarded a card this turn, select an enemy leader or an enemy follower on the field and deal 2 damage to it. So what happens is once we develop this on turn 3, every turn we discard, we get to just like ping our opponent for 2, ping our opponent for 2, ping our opponent for 2. If need be, we can just kind of clean up the board a little bit by pinging things on the board to remove it, to make way for our Fortes to hit face. The last effect is Fanfare. When it comes into play, you discard a card and then give your leader +1 health. So this is another reason why we play Trail of Light, but what's really good about this card is that when you do play it, it immediately activates its effect, so you know at the end of that turn you're going to be pinging something for 2, which is really good. The heal 1 is okay, I guess. In some cases, it did cause me to live to win a game, but it's not like the most amazing effect. It's just nice that you can immediately activate this effect if needed. So that's the deck itself. It's pretty solid overall. It's kind of like the prior Dragoncraft decks. You know, we were winning because we play 3 Fortes and we're just hitting face over and over again. But this time we get a little bit control elements through the Dragomancer's Rights, which is really cool. And it also lets us poke at the face a little bit more. So like against Havencraft and stuff like that, or people who don't have a really big board that we have to deal with, we can just poke them down slowly. And like every turn they have to take 2, take 2, take 2. In some cases they take 4 because you play 2 of these out, right? 4 to face every turn. And then once it causes them to get into range of Forte really quick, and then you can just end the game there with Forte, which is really nice. Besides that, I've enjoyed this deck in testing so far. It's been a fun deck. If you guys like it, go ahead and try it out yourself. You know, the set comes out tomorrow, basically, like less than like 12 hours from now, whenever this video does come out. So hopefully this is something you guys will enjoy. If you have your own version of the deck you guys like to share below, go ahead, do that. Post it up, especially once it's on the Bushi Log website, because I think the list of cards will be out soon. But yeah, this is the list I've been enjoying a lot. If you've liked this video, you know, like, comment, subscribe, you know, help us grow and all that stuff. Hopefully we'll see you guys in the next video. Later.